Almost when you hear the word God, Lord, or Lord capitalized, you would think of the real creator, right? Oops, wrong. You have fallen victim to the biggest scam ever, the greatest deception that has ever been perpetrated on human consciousness, one of the greatest deceptions ever to occur on the earth. And this is a disaster, and this is evil. Who is behind this is a scam? Nobody's free from this greatest deception ever.
Buckle up for a journey into the great unknowns. Many do not know that the Creator is not a spirit, not a being, and is not the God you've read about in books. Humanity cannot truly know the real Creator because our brains are severely limited, our memory too small, and we are born ignorant. Science, religion, and philosophy fail to uncover the true nature of the Creator. There are no tools, paradigms, gurus, or prophets who hold the answer. All they teach are gods made in our image, beings with human traits, bound by our understanding. Yet we can watch the chasm in the impassable reality of knowing the real Creator. Watch the full video on the Commit Ethics YouTube channel. For more insights, email us at joinumarifado.com.
Subscribe to our channel and let us walk this journey together. You can also enroll in our Bantu Foundation courses today and stay informed and alert of the nefarious deeds of Satan or forces over the earth. The major tactic used to deceive billions is the calculated silence on Yahweh's name in the Bible by replacing it with words like God and Lord. This was a deliberate and is a deliberate agenda that uses translators and translations under the influence of something that is not human, unknown to billions and unknown to others who might not really follow religions. A spirit settles in your life and in you and takes control of your soul and your destiny if you do not know about these nefarious forces that have managed to shape what almost every human being perceives as the real Creator today on the earth. It's time to uncover the truth behind the deception. We are going to give a lot of credible facts from the Bible and use these verses as proof that they have deliberately been used to hide the name of Yahweh and who this Yahweh is by using the words God, Lord, or other terms. Let's consider a number of verses. 1 Samuel 15:11. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, I regret that I have made Saul king, for he has turned back from following me and has not carried out my commands. If this Lord is the real Creator, then he should be omniscient and omnipresent because it is Yahweh. We see here the regret that is expressed, suggesting a lack of foreknowledge and indicating a limitation in omniscience. And this portrayal of Yahweh as Lord in this verse and in this translation downplays that fallibility. In Genesis 6, verse 6 to 7, we read, the Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. His heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe out from the face of the earth the human race I have created. Yahweh, who is translated as Lord here, experiences regret and emotional turmoil, which contradicts the notion of an all-knowing Creator. The translation as Lord tries and attempts and succeeds in obscuring this human-like quality which is real. It's not imaginary. In Isaiah 45, verse 7, dealing with evil, this God says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. This verse presents Yahweh as the creator of both good and evil. If they had put the word Yahweh there, it would be easy to challenge any belief in a benevolent, purely righteous deity or God. In the book of Judges, we read that, and the Lord was with Judah, and he drove out the inhabitants of the mountains, but could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley. Why? Because they had chariots of iron Yahweh's inability to drive and overcome his enemies who had superior technology highlights a limitation to his power. The real creator cannot be limited. The real gods are not limited in terms of power. The use of the word Lord maintains the illusion of omnipotence in a sense and in a way of hiding that this is Yahweh, not a general understanding that we have had of Lord referring to a great and to a master. That's why they put small letters here instead of capital letters. Very tricky translators here. In 1 Samuel 24:1 it says, again, the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, go and take a census of Israel and Judah. You go to 1 Chronicles 21:1, it says, Satan rose up against Israel and incited David to take a census of Israel. It's a contradiction here. Not an all-knowing, not an all-wise creator here. The discrepancy here between these two accounts shows that Yahweh's actions are morally questionable. And in 1 Samuel, his role as Lord downplays the moral inconsistency. We go to Numbers now, where the Israelites complained about the hardships in the hearing of the Lord. And when he heard them, his anger was kindled and aroused against them. And a fire burst forth from the Lord and burned amongst them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. Sure, honestly speaking, the reaction here to complaints by showing this extreme form of anger and violence shows that this is a deity known as Yahweh, contradicting the concept of an all-good and all-loving creator. Translating the name as Lord softens this harsh reality. When you look at omnibenevolence, a term that shows all-loving and teaches us that God is love and that he loves everyone unconditionally and that he is omniscient, means that he is all-knowing, falls flat. We go to Numbers again, 31:17-18, where he says, now kill all the boys and every woman that has known man, but save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man. This kill all the boys command is genocide, and the taking of virgins is sexual slavery. This is horrific. Yet when they translate it as a Lord, it hides and softens the true nature of these actions and their evil impact, challenging the belief of a benevolent God. Falls flat when you think, this is the Lord. But when you say it's Yahweh, it comes up, jutes up, straightforward. Who is Yahweh? You know that is a deity, an evil deity who wants sexual slavery and promotes genocide. Like in Deuteronomy 20:16-17, he says, however, in the cities of the nations, the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, do not leave alive anything that breathes. Completely destroy them as the Lord your God has commanded you to do. Yahweh's command here is annihilation. Annihilating whole entire populations, innocent and guilty. This is at odds with the concept of a morally perfect deity. The translation as Lord conceals the severity of this divine command and makes it a little bit tolerable. The anthropomorphic and bizarre human animalistic qualities and capriciousness of this Lord comes out in Exodus 32:14. So the Lord changed his mind about the harm that he wanted to do on his people. But in Malachi 3:6 we read, for I am the Lord, I change not. Contradiction straight. Yahweh's change of mind in response to Moses' plea shows that he's a deity, a common deity that can be appeased, a deity who is fickle and inconsistent. The term here, Lord, instead of using Yahweh, masks that unpredictability. The moral ambiguities here are so clear in Exodus 4:24-26. Where on the way to Egypt, at a place where they went to lodge, Moses and his family stopped, and the Lord confronted him and was about to kill him. There has been a lot of debates of who was supposed to be killed there, the son Gershom or Moses. But Moses' wife Zipporah took a flint knife and circumcised their son now, and touched the feet with the foreskin and said, now you are a bridegroom of blood to me. When she said bridegroom, she was referring to circumcision. After that, the Lord left him alone. This is bizarre. Why? Because this threatening encounter portrays Yahweh as menacing, but now they use Lord and they hide that this is Yahweh who was doing that, who wanted to take a life there, but when he was given blood and the piece of circumcision, he was satisfied. In 1 Kings 22, 19 to 23, we read a story that is very interesting that happened in heaven when God or the Lord called his angels for a meeting and his spirits for a meeting, wanting to kill Ahab, to entice Ahab into attacking Ramoth Gilead, and so that he could die there. And one suggested that, and another suggested that, and finally another spirit came forward, stood before the Lord and said, hey, I'm here, I will entice him. And the Lord said, by what means? And the Lord asked, and he said, I will go out and be a deceiving or lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord said, go, you will win. Why do we have this? Yahweh is a liar, he is a deceiver. These are moral ambiguities. But when you say Yahweh is a liar, it sounds clear, straightforward. But the translation by the term using Lord here obscures the troubling nature of this passage. Again, we realize that Yahweh has a relationship with another one known as Satan the devil. In Job 1, 6 and other verses, it shows that Satan went to see the Lord with the sons of gods. There are plenty of them, right? And the Lord said to Satan, where are you coming from? Where have you been? And Satan said, oh no, I've been running around the earth causing a lot of havoc. And God said, go and cause more havoc to Job. What kind of moral rights does this God have to do that? Violent and animalistic behavior is very clear. In 1 Samuel 6 verse 19 we read that, but God struck down some of the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, putting 70 of them to death because they peeped and looked into the ark of the Lord. So you see God and you see the Lord here. The severity of Yahweh's punishment for this minor infraction and the reminiscence of a violent territorial animal shown here in this verse is hidden by the translation of the word Lord, which minimizes this kind of behavior. Let's go now to the conclusion here. When we look at the systematic translation of the word Yahweh as Lord in most English Bibles, you will realize that this linguistic choice was not accidental, but it was a deliberate act to conceal the troubling aspects of the biblical God known as Yahweh or Jehovah or Asher, Aye, Asher, one of his many names. It's known as translational disguise, which gives a portrayal that aligns more closely with that traditional view that every human being with a soul has at the back of their mind as a faint understanding of the omnipotent, the omniscient, and the omnibenevolent real creator somewhere, not God, not Jehovah, because these are terms that have been used in the Bible to obscure a deity known as Yahweh, who has a lot of limitations, who is capricious, and who is also full of moral ambiguity. So who created God? The true character of Yahweh as presented in this text forces everyone to be more alert and more honest and become mature as a knowledge seeker, to acknowledge that this is just a deity who pours out an anti-human spirit and is very divisive and hateful of humanity. The translators knew what they were doing, so they went ahead and changed the original language words like Yahweh and substituted it with the Lord, and with Elohim substituted it with God, so that at the end the spirit that caused them to do that was obscuring its nature and playing behind the scene using translators, thus hiding Yahweh and also using the word God or El, usually in the form of Elohim, plural of Eloha, or Theos, or Yahweh, a form of being. The real creator is not a being. It's not even a spirit. Adon is not even Aton. It's not even the sun that was worshipped by Ignaton. Words deceive all readers here. When you grapple with these challenges, you are compelled to rethink, and your concept of the divinity or of the divine changes dramatically as you are led deeper and deeper into more nuanced spiritual understanding of the real creator, who is nameless, who is not a spirit, who is not a being, who is an unknowable one. And it is written by our ancestors that he says, I am the hidden one, the one who cannot be seen. I am the mysterious one, whose name is not known. No one knows. So how come now we are told that El is God? Of course, they don't say that he's the real creator. They say he's God. And the general understanding is that it's a common noun of God. And the nomen proprium is El, Elohim, used almost 300 times in the Bible. And these are the images of that God, the chief God, El, of the Canaanite pantheon, also known as the God of the Bible and Allah. This is interesting because we want to look at who is behind this reason of them translating Yahweh as God, as Lord. Very few know that the real creator is not God. The real creator is unknowable. In the Nag Hammadi, we are told which deity did that. This also is verified in the Hermetica, where we are really taught a lot. In the Nag Hammadi, it is clear that Jehovah, Allah, Yahweh is the damage, a chief of the Archons, a malicious, jealous, egoistical, minor, supernatural, who has deluded millions into believing that he is God, the real creator and the creator of everything. Envying our divine spark within us, this damage and these Archons mislead and enslave a lot, and wants to do that and to prevent us from ever awakening to our true potential of the divine spark. And they spread fear, hatred, and suspicion amongst us and drive us into all manner of reckless crime, into wars and frauds, and all things hostile to the nature of our soul. If you want to learn more about this and many other subjects, subscribe to our channel, like our videos, send us an email to join@marifado.com. Your manager to be Rabbi LM says, yes, there is a false deity that has hidden itself in the pages of the Bible and incorporated a lot of the qualities of the unknowable one, and a lot have been deceived by that. Do not be deceived. Stay alert. Amen.